We are a team of social media specialists creating strategy, content, and results for small and medium enterprises across Simcoe County and beyond.
Today we're here because we just want to bring justice to the people of color who don't have quite the opportunities that our white counterparts do.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of racism, especially in small communities, but it's harder to see in these smaller communities because unfortunately they're not as diverse. And we just wanted to show that yes, there is diversity here, yes, there are people of color here, and yes, their voices need to be heard, and we need to stop being racist.
We're here to keep the conversation going, to bring our community together and share some more stories in hopes that people are still listening and still with the movement, because as we've said, it's not a moment, it's a movement. And we talked about it being, we talked about change coming a few months ago, now change is here, and we're trying to make it happen today, continuing with what we've been doing. Well, we're trying to get everyone to understand that we're all different. So All Lives Matter is a completely different topic than Black Lives Matter, because Black lives are what we're trying to protect and support right now. So the people that say All Lives Matter, it's just showing that they need to be educated and they're misunderstanding what the movement is about. So the movement today and what we're trying to communicate is about unity, togetherness, and bringing more understanding to the community in order to unify us for a better future. The Stay Humble and Kind movement has always believed that togetherness is the only way to do it. We're stronger together. So the Black Lives movement, especially in our community, is important in order to bring the two communities together. Bring the people that feel like they're unheard to the people that aren't listening, or the people that may need more education on the lives that are being lived.
Well, what brings me here is that I would love people to know that there is a Black artist out here who is trying to get emerging artists out into the mainstream, and I would love people to know that we are diverse and we are inclusive of everyone. I would love people to see different art that expresses a Black culture from someone who has grown up in different cultures. I have different images of Black people within my artwork that I would love young Black people to see.
Being Black is not a crime. Being Indigenous is not a crime. Mental health is not a crime. Police brutality is a crime. And I'll say that again, police brutality is a crime. No justice, no peace. Systemic racism is real, and it's not just in our police force. It exists in our education system, justice system, family court, correctional services, and in our healthcare system. The way police treat Black men is the way doctors treat Black women. As a birth professional, I wish I could disagree with this statement. Systemic racism exists in our healthcare system, including prenatal care, childbirth, postpartum support, and maternal mental health. Did you know that African American women have a 238% increased risk of maternal death compared to the deaths of white women, which is 44 deaths versus 13? When we say defund the police, we are not saying fuck the police. Police will be funded, but not overfunded. Redistribution of our city budget. Everyone gets a fair share, because police are not mental health counselors, social workers, medical professionals, or education specialists, and should not be responsible for everything. Hashtag defund the police emphasizes reassessing our values, investing in our communities, investing in our people, funding our schools, funding our hospitals, funding services, and funding our infrastructure. People are calling 911 requesting mental health crisis support for themselves or their family members, and being shot and murdered by the police right here in Ontario, Canada, and right here in Barrie. So with the whataboutery, I have heard a lot of people saying, what about blue lives? What about white lives? What about, children that are being sexually abused? The one thing I haven't heard was nobody from the LGBTQ community has said, but gay lives matter too. Instead, they choose to support equality because they too know what oppression feels like. So I want to give a huge round of applause to our LGBT plus community for all of your support.
Anti-Black racism is alive and well here. So I realized I couldn't wait anymore for the world to change. I had to be the change. So together with Shelley and Stephanie, we founded a not-for-profit organization called Making Change. The name might seem obvious, but we realized that, and this is quoting, I don't have the author, if nothing changes, nothing changes. So our goal is to have community inclusion, and we're building it together with you. For true inclusion to happen for us all, to really belong, we all need to fit out, to be different, to be ourselves.
And being biracial, it felt like I was in the middle of a tug-of-war, but no one was pulling. I was too white to be black, I was too black to be white. So where did I belong? It took me 30 years to realize anywhere I am is where I belong. Anywhere I go is where I belong. I am here because of the youth. When a child speaks, you listen. At the age of 10 to 13, I experienced sexual violence. I was stalked every day going to school. I used to show up at school early because I knew if I made it to school, I wouldn't be touched. I'd be safe. Until that same teacher saw me, and it never once came and asked me why I showed up every day at 7:30. What child in elementary school goes to school at 7:30 in the morning when school starts at 9? Every day. Or I'd go to my friend's house and I'd wake up their parents so I could stay in their house. Because if I knew I made it to their house or school, I would be safe. You know what happened? The teacher called my mom and told my mom I can't be at school before 8:30 and I have to be off school proper by 4 p.m.
This is why we're trying to create change. Because hurt people hurt people. And if you get hurt when you're a kid, you'll hurt until you're an adult. So let's stop the cycle. Let's work together. Let's listen to our kids and give them a space to grow, to feel, to be inspired.
So basically, you don't have to be all in or all out. It's not about being a dedicated activist. It's about loving everybody who lives in your community and treating everyone equally.
It's about understanding that everybody has a different struggle, and just because you don't see what's going on in another person's life doesn't mean that it's not happening. So just because racism doesn't affect you doesn't mean that it doesn't affect somebody else. So we just want people to come out and listen to people's stories and start to understand, take a walk in another person's shoes and understand where they're coming from, and that this isn't just unnecessary. This is necessary. We need to do this, and we need to come together and work together.